Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Anda sedang menonton Bisnes Awani bersama saya Syarkawi Saluddin. Antara tumpuan bajet 2015 yang dibentangkan oleh Perdana Menteri Oktober lalu ialah peruntukan bagi pembangunan modal insan dan pendidikan. Ia selaras dengan keperluan negara untuk membina ekonomi rakyat dan menjadikan Malaysia sebuah negara berpendapatan tinggi menjelang tahun 2020. Apakah strategi dan rancangan bagi menggalakkan pertumbuhan bakat tempatan termasuk mengangkat wanita dalam peranan kepimpinan? Bagi mengupas langkah dan peranan yang bakal dilaksanakan, bersama kita di studio ialah Naib Presiden Kelly Outsourcing Consulting Group Kelly OCG, Mr. Anthony Raja Devadoss. Thank you, Mr. Anthony, for being with us today. When we talk about human capital and talent market related, can you briefly outline what are the main issues that have been addressed in the 2015 budget? Yeah.
Hi, Shah. Good to see you again. So, overall, the 2015 budget, I would call it a people's budget or human capital budget. So, what we're seeing, it's holistic, it's relevant, it's timely for us. And there are three areas which it highlights. Number one is about graduate employability. As you know, we need 46% of specialized qualification progressively by the year 2020, and we are already at 2014 now. So we've got 5 years to go to make sure that we are able to build industry-ready graduates as well as sustainable ecosystem overall. The second part of it is about professional certification. You see trends are improving. There is a demand from the industry to have very specialized certified resources. So it's important to intensify this reskilling process or upskilling process. And finally, we want to continue to balance the ecosystem by having women to come back to workforce, because we are still short of the population when compared to the men's population at work.
All right. In your opinion, Mr. Anthony, do you think Malaysian women's talent pool is shrinking?
All right. So if you look at statistics, I think we're looking at about 38% of the current workforce are women, right? When you compare to developing nations or developed nations right now, you can see the balance between both the workforce, which is happening right now. So although a lot of women graduate from school to tertiary education and come into workforce, but they do not sustain the entire pipeline, right? So what happens is there is a gap. So that gap is what you may be seeing as a shrinking effort. But if you look at what the initiatives from the government is to make sure that we are welcoming them back through different incentives, one from a leadership level, at the director level of organizations, there's a expectation that we're looking at decision-making positions coming from them. The second one is probably looking at how do we look at women to come back to careers? Yeah. All right. So they moved on, they have worked, but they've moved on, but they want to come back. And finally, making sure that there is flexibility at workforce, at work, and also making sure you provide childcare support.
On top of the incentive that have been mentioned, probably what can be done and how can we can we be better promote women's position in leadership?
Absolutely. And I think one is looking at encouraging them to come back to workforce, right? But by allowing that flexible timeliness for them to come in, right? One. And two is making sure that you're able to give the right conditions and environment for them. Now, question is, can they work from home? Yes, today's technology is good and it's sufficient to be able to allow them to work from home. But only thing, the element of trust at work is key. Once you set goals and clear-cut KPIs, I'm sure they can work from home as well to support.
Is it really executed? I mean, it's been mentioned in 2014 budget as well, but women works from home. Is it really works, actually?
Absolutely it does. But if you look at the acceptance level, it's just picking up right now. And it's important for us to continue that pace of growth, keep organizations encouraged to attract women through this flexible workforce method. So once they are ready, that means they've taken care of what needs to be taken care at home and elsewhere, then they can come back to work in full time.
You talk about women, talent market related issues. What type of talents that are highly sought after in Malaysia? Probably you can share with us.
Absolutely. And I think the first one is STEM-based professionals. We call them the science, technology, engineering and math professionals, because the industry is today demanding these skill sets. And it's demand and supply, right? So we need to balance that. And what's happening is, what we have right now is only 28% of STEM-educated professional groups. But if you look at 2020, we would need probably double the size. So in the next 5 years, we need to build the pool of specialized science, technology, engineering, math professionals to be able to meet the demand of the industry. So those are the specialized skill sets which, from a professional certification angle, which the government is looking into, as well as looking at how we address vocational education as part of mainstream as well.
Why is it important for local workforce? I think they professional certification.
Absolutely. So when you're looking at professional certification, you're looking at global standards. And global standards is key for organizations which establishes global operations, regional operations. It's a prerequisite already today. And in addition to your schooling, vocational education or tertiary education, over and above this, there is a professional certification which recognizes you and places you in the world map as part of a global professional standard that you're establishing. Whichever stream you are in human resources, for example, Kelly offers the human resource certification programs. Likewise, in engineering or oil and gas, you have specialized engineering certification programs. In technology or high tech, you also have the IT certification programs. And all of this establishes your position as an individual as well as an organization which attracts the right kind of talent for you.
All right, last but not least, probably, is there any other area of concerns that you feel 2015 budget did not address, and
absolutely,
you wish to see some developments in some areas that did not touch?
Probably one area I would like to highlight is there is a trend which we are noticing in aging workforce in Malaysia. It is something which is coming at us at very fast pace.
It's happened to Japan.
That's correct. You're right. Absolutely right. So we have seen it happen in Japan, and I see a trend happening in Singapore as well. I think it's important for us to wake up and see that happening. The reality is, by 2020, we will have 3 million people who are retiring. That's not a small number. So imagine the workforce, more than 10% of the workforce are just going to retire. And then what about succession planning? What about knowledge transfer?
Are we ready for that?
And readiness-wise, absolutely. And are we asking ourselves that question from an organization point of view, from a public sector point of view, from a society, or from an overall government point of view? Are we asking that question in terms of readiness for retirement and planning towards that retirement, which is coming in the next 5 years for us?
What would be the best, your view or solutions that can help these issues?
I think the first and foremost is a lot of people give importance to hiring talent, engaging talent, developing talent. But when it comes to transitioning, that means once they retire and move on, the equal amount of importance may not be given right now. So it's important for us to consider that path, assess them for readiness for retirement, right? There is an assessment available with us that we can offer to the organizations, public sector as well as private sector. At least the individual is able to understand what he or she needs, because they've given the best part of their life to companies or to the public sector, right? So it's important for them now to consider how we can take care of them as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony Raja Devadoss, to Naib Presiden Kelly Outsourcing Consulting Group atau Kelly OCG, membincangkan mengenai perancangan dan juga strategi dalam berdepan negara maju menjelang tahun 2020. Terima kasih kerana sudi hadir bersama kami, Mr. Anthony.